So hi everyone, Christine and Tim here on another day with top 5 tips to help you kick off your day. And this is one that people have asked me so many times is like, how do you get it all done? How do you make these things happen, right? Because if you look at, our travel schedule, like we're in different cities around the world. We're running all these initiatives within our organization. How do we actually become productive, right? So I'm going to share some top 5 tips on productivity. Kind of like productivity hacking, to help you guys, because in this day and age I feel like everyone is starting to work more remotely anyway. I mean, this is the future of work, right? Where you have to be very, very I think proactive about how you manage your time, how you manage your resources, and how you manage your network, right? And how they engage with you. So I'm going to share my top 5 tips on what I've done, things that I've taken for granted as a habit but has helped me tremendously in terms of getting things done, making things work for my organization as well, but also being able to move as rapidly as we do as entrepreneurs and co-founders in this space. So tip number 1, and this is a big one, how do you execute on your organization's activities is very, very important. So I usually divide this into 3 things: emails, phone calls, and meetings. Okay, usually in some shape or form, when you're interacting with any client or partner or stakeholder within your business or within your job, right, you have to do it through emails, you have to do it through a phone call or a meeting, right? And so one thing that I think we get caught off with, starting with email, is that we spend hours on end on email and it never seems to end because it's one of those kind of like bottomless funnels, right? Where no matter how many emails you answer in a day, you're gonna get more emails the next day. So how do you make sure that you do things either to completion or in a way that's more effective for you, but also that doesn't disrupt your time, right? So the first thing I would say when it comes to emails is never be the person that actually has your email account ready for you to check at all times throughout the day and answer it, because we all know these, even if you check an email and you think you'll get back to it later, it's a trigger for you to respond. It's like social media, right? So what I used to do, or what I still do to this very day, I don't check emails throughout the day, right? I have a specific time that I check emails. There are some days where I don't check email for the entire day, right? Especially if I have a very focused activity to do. So you got to pick a time that's beneficial to you. So you could be checking emails maybe in the morning between 9 and 11, and that's your time frame. You execute on all that and you keep it moving, or at the end of the day or during lunch. But you have to pick a time where one time it works for you to check your emails and get to it. And keep in mind, I understand sometimes people have short-term projects where they have to be on call as soon as possible. But in terms of your consistency throughout, you have to be very smart and efficient, and do not let emails be a trigger to determine your schedule, because we all know this, it's a rabbit hole. Once you start checking emails, all of a sudden the rest of your day is gone. So that's the first thing. Now, when it comes to phone calls, I don't mix my meetings and phone calls and activities all in one day. And so I have this system where Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, there are days where I do all my phone calls. And there are days where I do all my meetings, and there are days where I only do activities for the business that has nothing to do with meetings or calls. So on average, I usually avoid Mondays and Fridays. Monday, just because usually it's, for some reason, the energy and vibe of talking to people on Monday just never work. Everyone just getting into the thick of things. People are just kicking off their week. They just come from a weekend. You don't know what they've been through, right? So I usually avoid Mondays for phone calls. And Fridays, because that's usually your last day of the week, the last business day, to either fulfill a project, get something done, or just relax, because a lot of people do errands around that time. That's when you're going into the weekend. Maybe you want to have an early weekend, whatever it may be. But Mondays and Fridays tend to be a little bit tough to really organize meetings and calls. So a lot of my meetings and calls, people will notice this, are usually on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Most importantly, Tuesday and Wednesday, because I want whatever we're discussing in the meeting on Tuesday or Wednesday to be something I can follow up with, or we can move on from on Thursday. Because keep in mind, if you email people to start something Thursday or Friday, most likely they won't get to it to the next week. So it's a quick tip that I will say, like, don't forget this. Like, be very mindful about trying to get as much as you can during that time frame. All right, so that's the first productivity hack I'll share with you. Just be very mindful of how you divide those 3 things: email, phone calls, and meetings. So that's the first one. The second thing I will say is bulk your activities. This is something very, very big. How you bulk your activities in terms of your time frame and your management is so crucial. It's something that I realized that, wow, like I should really do, that I should really share this with people, because a lot of times you have so many things on your plate, you don't know how to like really bulk and really put it on in a time frame that makes sense for you, right? So something that I started to do was essentially I would say, this week I'm only doing, I'm just, creating all our landing pages for our website. So I code all our websites for our company, right? And so I'm not doing anything else until I do that, because what happens is when you bulk an activity, you get better and better and better and better, but also lazier and lazier and lazier and lazier. So you optimize your time, right? Because as you're getting lazier with executing on whatever activity you're doing, you're finding more efficient ways to do it. But if you just do a little bit of it here and then you go and switch off and do another project and then get back to it, the time it will take for you to get back into that groove actually eliminates a lot of opportunity time between that. And so whatever I'm working on, if it's something that, like, for example, I have to send, let's say, email outreach to several people in the organization, that will be my sole focus for that 2 hours. And you won't hear or see from me during that time frame, because I want to execute on that mission to its completion and be done with it. So a lot of you, if you have project goals in a quarter where, let's say, you have to do something and you're spreading it across the quarter, maybe every Monday, every Tuesday, try your best to say, okay, 2 weeks, this is all I'm doing, right? Or for even your day, this is all I'm doing for the next 2 hours. Don't reach me, right? It helps a lot when you bulk your activities. So it's a big secret sauce of mine that I do with almost everything. Then that's the reason why I'm literally, if you think about my work ethic, the things I'm able to do in an hour, I'm literally reflective of an entire team of 10, 20 people at the way I execute and chisel on an activity. Like, it's intense. And so try to get really useful bulking your activity. So bulking your errands for the day, bulking your email outreach for a day, bulking a project that you're trying to do, right? Whatever it is, bulk it together. It helps tremendously. So that's the second tip. Third team, just looking at my notes here, is knowing the difference between where you're in research mode versus execution mode. And I tend to feel like when you're working in the workplace, people don't know the difference. There are times you have a work, like a project that you have to do, and for some reason you do have to understand maybe the client, the ecosystem, the environment, whatever it is. Understand that you can't sometimes do the research and execute at the same time. So take the time to do thorough research and have a deadline, even if you're not complete, because that's another thing is you have to define your sense of completion with any task that you do, right? One thing we know with anyone who's doing research, sometimes there's always more information that you could find, but you got to give yourself the quota. It could be like 3 hours of research, I am done. 30 articles of research, I am done, right? Or when I am able to find these, 5 metric points, I'm done. Give yourself the quota to completion and get it done and move forward, right? And so know when you're in research mode and know when you're in execution. So once you're done the research, then you know, okay, I've transitioned to execution mode. Now I have to do the calls, I have to do the outreach. So know the difference where you're at and divide your time and your scheduling based on that. So know the difference between when you're in research mode and execution mode. It will help you, because a lot of times we blend the two and we wonder why we're not getting things done in an efficient manner, okay? Fourth one I would say is automate any activity that you do on a repeated basis. I can't say this enough. And this is me, kind of blending your work life with your life balance, because, I'm a mother of 2 kids, I'm married, our background, we're cultured. So we're around family all the time. There's so many competing things that occur in your life that you have to be very strategic about just what takes a lot of your time. So let's start with just automation of tasks, right? If you know you have certain bills coming out of your account every single month, whether it's your rent, your mortgage, right? Credit card bills or, phone bills, whatever it is, don't be that person. In this day and age, we should not be in a position where you're still paying that manually. Automate your bills, right? Because that's something that takes time when you have to contribute to doing that. Automate other activities that you do in the household that you do on a regular basis, like eating, right? You should not be going to grocery stores, running errands, unless you like the activity of it. But you could automate grocery shopping, where groceries are delivered to your door or what have you, right? So try to automate anything in your life that you do on a repeated basis, right? That takes time. And that goes for your execution. One of my favorite apps out there, if you don't know it, you're gonna love this, is Zapier, because it automates all these different tools and apps that we're using around the world. Sometimes it gets tough catching up with all this stuff, right? So automate a lot of your activities with Zapier or any other platform. If you don't like Zapier, you could just Google competitors to Zapier and you'll find alternatives. But the point is, automate the things that you do on a regular basis, so that leaves you the time and the creativity to execute on the things that require your time, require your knowledge, and require your creativity, right? So don't forget that. So hopefully that's very useful. And the last thing I will say when it comes to productivity is know when to rest and shut down. I think we are in a time where we no longer value people who multitask all the time, because I think there was a time where, oh, I could do all these things at the same time, but not only is it inefficient, not only does it make you not enjoy the activities that you're doing, and third, leaves a lot of room for error, it's unnecessary, right? So have the time and space to say, you know what, I'm on break, and enjoy that break. Right? Like, don't multitask and like you're eating and you're also, you know, doing a spreadsheet and you're also doing this. Take the time, enjoy the food. And I'm Caribbean, so I love my jerk chicken and my rice and peas and my food. I love enjoying what I eat. I'm not going to interrupt that for nothing, right? Be like that. You know, understand and respect your time and take the break. You'll be amazed your creativity after you come back, right? When you have that break, because a lot of times, I love this quote that I saw: if you don't give your body a break, your body will do it for you or select the time for you. It's such an amazing quote. And I'm like, it's so true. We work ourselves so much, and to what end, right? Even if you feel like you have a lot on your plate, believe me, we all know this, you're always gonna have a lot on your plate. Just do yourself that service, is to actually schedule the time for breaks. So take your lunch hour breaks seriously. Take your nap seriously. Take your breaks seriously. When it comes to productivity, when I'm saying I'm on break, I'm with my kids, I'm watching TV, I'm chilling, I'm watching a series. Don't interrupt it. It's not happening, right? And so that's the fifth and last tip I will say when it comes to productivity. Value your breaks, value those times, because it actually helps a lot when it comes to productivity. So I'll recap really quickly the top 5 tips I shared. 1, understand how to manage your schedule, your emails, your phone calls, and your meetings throughout the week. I already said this before. Avoid Mondays and Fridays if you can, and try to schedule, automate things in bulk. Which leads to the second one when it comes to bulking your activities throughout the year, right? So whether it's bulking errands, bulking activities, whatever it is, learn the bulking method and start to truncate your activities based on those times, so that way you're able to efficiently execute and also optimize your skill set and optimize your time. Because like I said before, once you're repeatedly doing something over and over, you get lazier and you try to find creative ways to optimize the process. Third, I would say know the difference between research and execution, because that will affect the type of activities you're doing in both, and knowing the difference. Fourth, automate your bills, automate your activities, like whatever you can that you know you do on a repeated basis, automate it. So whether it's using apps like Zapier or the competitor product, make sure that you know that there are activities you do on a repeated basis. Don't do it manually anymore, automate it. It will help you tremendously. And the fifth and last tip is pretty much, don't forget about your breaks. Value your breaks. It's okay to take breaks. Love it, because it helps you with the creative process. It helps you be more eager and excited. Multitasking is dead. That time you have nothing to prove to anyone. You get it done when you are gonna get it done. But make sure that you value yourself, because your mental well-being, if you're not around to do it, nothing gets done. So value your time, value yourself, and make sure at the end of the day, you're doing all these activities to what end? Make sure it's valuable and a valuable reason for you to do it. So that way you're also doing all these activities with love, excitement, passion, so it makes sense for you. So hopefully you find those useful tips, top 5 for the day on productivity. And I wish you all the best today. So get to it. I know you got a lot of work to do, so later.